Hello and welcome to this voyage of Boggle Rocket. We're flying back up to the skies of Dino Island for today's destination, the 5921 Research Glider. This will be a shorter review while I test out my new mic and practice the changes in editing methods which come with it. I was previously recording everything on my phone. Plus, there's less wider LEGO discussion to be had here than there was with, say, the Island Racer. Before starting this review series, this just so happened to be the only other Dino Island set I owned besides the little character packs, which means Mike here is the only cast member I had multiple copies of, and that has only multiplied again in the last few weeks as I've collected more of this line. Let's start with the glider itself, where straight away, even as a child, I found these vinyl pieces annoying, which is a shame considering they're quite the novelty and a set exclusively printed. They spin at the slightest knock, so the set has to be held very carefully to retain any semblance of stability, let alone during play. Mine have also always been bent due to the pieces being stored together in the package. I could always heat them up with a hairdryer and try to coax them back, but I don't want to risk permanently warping or damaging them. They also do most of the heavy lifting, literally, as they're what makes it fly, in terms of the glider's construction. But this is supposed to be a light craft. The white lance they're attached with is also pretty uncommon, appearing in only 12 other sets besides this one, 2 of which are also Dino Island, and the piece was last seen in 2004. Finally, this rare brown propeller only appeared in 6 other sets, with a single entry outside the Adventurers series. Speaking of rare colourings, this set exclusive Tantanadon is nice, and I like how he's given his own tan perch to tell you where to rest him, I suppose. Although it would be just as easy to take this off and leave the creature actually held in place. Some pleasing visual continuity at least, and I think as a child I probably saw it as an egg or nest. The only included minifigure is Mike, a young friend of Johnny Thunder's. As far as I can gather, he sort of seems to be the mutt to Johnny's Indiana, although clearly not his son. Maybe? It's a bit odd that he comes with this chain lasso. I thought it was the villains who wanted to capture the dinosaurs. Plus, his ability to pilot a flying, gliding craft in this set makes me realise the heroes don't actually specialise in any particular area. They can sort of all do everything. Mike gets a hovercraft for his Kabaya pack, and is depicted at the wheel of the larger T-Rex transport boat, and I thought it was obvious that Pippin Reed was supposed to be the pilot. No, if anything here, the standout is this tree. Man, it's a far cry from modern day attempts. But there's something charming about it. Dino Island does include some terrain, but more play-centric vehicles clearly took precedence with this theme, making up a large majority of the parts budget. Yes, I counted. Please note this doesn't include the research compound, as this set is large, expensive, rare, and contains nothing exclusive, so unfortunately won't be included in this series. I'm sorry if that disappoints some people, but this set is really hard to come by and shelf space is already fairly limited. The Research Glider is the only set which dedicates a majority of its parts budget to terrain, 28 pieces for the tree and only 25 for the vehicle, for 52 in total. We can look at the subject of an upcoming review, the all-terrain trapper, for some comparison. I counted the pieces in the terrain in this set without any man-made inclusions such as the net trap or the campsite. Taking those out of the equation, we're left with 16 pieces for the land without the trap and 15 for the other small piece of terrain. Compare this to the 115 pieces for the vehicle, and out of the total 176 pieces, it's clear that the island part of this theme's title was sort of left by the wayside. Next, the Dino Explorer has a meagre 12 pieces for its terrain and 70 for the vehicle, for 82 total, and then the Island Racer, Island Hopper and T-Rex Transport all contain just vehicles, characters and dinosaurs. Though I think we can forgive the Island Hopper. These are playsets after all. But to get the most substantial piece of terrain in the line in terms of piece count here with the Research Glider is a huge plus. There are definitely other positives to this set. I've always found the dark wings and the stormy clifftop environment on the instructions give the whole scene a strong atmosphere, and this is one of the only times in the line where the vehicle type outright matches the dinosaur in question. But I can't overlook the fact that this one spent a majority of its existence broken up in my big buckets of Lego as a child. It sounds bad, but I do view it as inferior to the others, even against recent additions I hold no nostalgia for, like the previously reviewed Dino Explorer. The lack of an exclusive or appropriate dino has been a big criticism of mine across the line, so this set gains big points for hitting both those marks in one. But I'm sorry to say this is one set where, for me, that well of overflowing Lego nostalgia has somewhat dried up. All things considered, I can moderately recommend this one. You'll find Mike elsewhere, and the play pattern feels a little tonally separate from the other sets. You get a few somewhat rare pieces here, but I don't think you're missing much by passing this one up. Either way, that's all for this voyage of Boggle Rocket. There's a few destinations on the horizon, and I hope you'll come along for the trip. Next stop,